Hey everybody, how are you? Tonight let's talk about talking on the phone. Let me be upfront. I am not a fan of talking on the phone. I avoid it as much as I can. The reason is I am often at a loss for what's being said on the phone. You see, I depend heavily on lip reading, and when you talk on the phone, you're not able to read lips. So I have avoided using the phone as much as I can. I prefer email, messaging, and texting. But in recent years, things started to change. The iPhone, which I use, has come out with a live captions function on the phone. To find it, go to settings, then to accessibility, and when you get to accessibility, scroll down to the bottom and you'll see live captions and in parentheses beta. Enable that and you're good to go. Alright, this is the topic we're going to talk about today. Okay, so earlier in the year I made more of an effort to use the live captions function on the phone when making short calls to doctors' offices. I often have my wife on standby to help me out, just in case. I'm not a big fan of having to depend on someone else to do that, but there you go. And I was pleasantly surprised at how well the live captions transcribed the other person's speech. Now, of course, there's going to be a slight time delay between what they say and the transcription through live captions, and it worked pretty well. And it came in very handy one day when a family member fell and broke her hip. And while my wife was tending to this family member, I got on the phone, called 911, and I was able to carry out the conversation with the dispatcher, tell her the location. I described the person that needed the attention. All of that, and the dispatcher told us to keep my family member still. And it worked out very well. So live captions worked extremely well. Of course, there's going to be a time delay, as I mentioned earlier. That's the only bothersome part of that. The technology of today is increasingly benefiting members of the deaf community and those with cochlear implant with various assistive devices. And live captions on the iPhone is great. I'm not sure whether this function is available on the Android phone. I suspect it is, but I'm not sure. I don't use Android phones. This has consequences for us. I wish I had access to live captions on the iPhone way back in 2016. When I applied for a position in downtown Toronto with a particular agency, they contacted me and said that they wanted to conduct an initial phone interview. Now, as you already know by now, I'm not a fan of using the phone. And phone interviews, not a good idea in my book, because I can't read lips. I can't read the other speaker's lips. So I requested in a combination that we do an initial face-to-face interview in lieu of a phone interview. What transpired next was just really bad. They emailed me an accommodation form that had to be filled out by my audiologist, who explained that phone conversations was not a good idea for me due to my inability to read lips. It was very explicit. Mr. Johns needs to read lips in order to carry out conversations. Filled out the accommodation form, she signed off on it. We faxed it back to this particular employer. You wouldn't believe what happened next. This employer called my phone and left a voicemail. And wait till my wife came home to transcribe the voicemail for me. I immediately emailed the person. I said, did you even read the accommodation form? The accommodation form specifically says that I have difficulty with phone conversations due to my inability to lip read. And this person's response was very defensive and just never acknowledged my point. So what happened is that things went silent for the next 3 months. This was in May. And I didn't hear anything until September when they said, oh, let's have you come in for a face-to-face interview for the first stage. By then, I had lost interest in this particular agency because the way they treated this issue was just terrible. It didn't speak well of them. So I went through the face-to-face interview. I was invited for a second interview. I had lost enthusiasm for these folks. They claimed to be thinking out of the box, but they basically didn't follow the instructions of my audiologist. Bottom line is, it would have been nice if I had had live captions back 7 years ago, because it would have made the process much smoother. I can't do anything about the fact that the employer and the way they handled it, they were complete asshats. But for employment purposes, this is tremendously helpful for the deaf community. So, what do you think? Have you guys tried the live caption function on the iPhone, or if it's available on the Android phone? Please let me know. Put the comments in the comment box below, and if you haven't done so, please subscribe and come back for more videos. Thanks for watching and listening. Have a great night.